So I was bored the other day when I went through my original phone. My I think it was an LG Neon. I haven't been on this thing in like 10 years. I used it when I was like just a kid. And I was looking through like some of the texts and stuff. And I noticed this number I had been texting like way back then. These are from texts I haven't checked in ages. And it was a number that was 242242. And if you don't remember this, this was ChaCha. It's a very old chat program that was it was basically Google through text message, if that makes sense. It was you could text it and then you would get an answer back. And I don't think anybody knew exactly how that worked. They thought maybe it's robots. Maybe there's somebody on the other end of the line. You could text it like, "Hey, what's the cheat code for Resident Evil?" Or what's the cheat code for Grand Theft Auto San Andreas at the time. This is probably like 2009, 2010 when it was really popular. And I was just a little kid, and unless you were like rich enough to have one of the first iPhones, an adult too, which most kids back then really didn't have iPhones. Like if you were that young, it was before like the tablet generation. I looked at these texts and I was like, this is like very. This reminds me of something that's kind of out right now. You think about it, it's basically ChatGPT before 13 years ago. I don't know how this works, but it worked back then. Was it humans? Was it a AI, like an early AI? No idea. So I thought I'd like investigate more. Think I found a cable for it. Oh, it works. Okay, cool. 242242. I was in a workout phase in like middle school. I was like, hey, what starting position? I asked how to do crunches. And then there's a Navy ad at the bottom. It would just answer any questions. Let me see if there's some others. Yeah, in Resident Evil for the GameCube, how do you change the gears of the clock? The clock on my phone actually was off a lot of the time, so sometimes these would be out of order. Oh my god. I asked about a 30 Seconds to Mars song. I think it's that one that was in that, what was that strategy game for the Xbox 360? Was it Dragon Age? Or that RPG? Yeah, you could just ask it anything back then. So if you didn't know, ChaCha was like a service in the late 2000s to early 2010s. It was basically a search engine over text. You would text the number 242242 and you would magically get an answer pretty fast, actually. Sometimes it would take a little bit. Sometimes it would be pretty fast. Also kind of like ChatGPT. And then also you'd get like usually a text for an ad, like some sort of ad. That's how they supported the service for a time being. So you wanted, like, if you wanted to get past a puzzle in a video game, if you wanted to just look up who had the longest schlong, I'm pretty sure that was a pretty common question that would get asked a lot. Another thing that it got used for was test cheating. This was a very early version of using Google on your phone during a test. A lot of people did this apparently, from what I've read on Reddit and stuff like that. I definitely didn't do it. It wasn't me. It's the late aughties. I think that's how you say it. The aughties, the late 2000s. Like, you know what I mean? Like 2000 to 2010 is basically when this is blowing up. Unless you were a kid that was unless you were doing pretty well during the recession, and especially if you were a kid, you didn't have like you still had a dumb phone. You didn't really have a smartphone. That really changed until like a few years later. Most kids, at least I remember, like didn't have phones like that until probably like 2012. That's when I first got my iPhone. You probably still had a dumb phone. If your dumb phone could browse the internet, you probably didn't have unlimited data, which somehow that's still like a thing that some people don't have, or like some people there's some plans that aren't unlimited for some whatever reason. In 2023, we still don't have everyone on unlimited affordably. You might know there's another thing that's kind of blown up recently called ChatGPT. It's an AI that takes any question you feed it, and it's pretty accurate, actually. Like, it'll tell you whatever. I mean, unless you ask it something political, sometimes it gets a little like, I don't know, blah blah blah. That's what I've heard. Like, unless you ask like very topical questions, because it's like it takes a little while to learn from the internet. But it is pretty accurate. People use this as a search engine. They use it to write scripts. They use it to even cheat on their schoolwork. Probably even better now. If the modern AI is what it takes to answer questions on ChatGPT, then who the hell was answering these questions over a decade ago on ChaCha? Was it some primitive AI? Was it people? So from what I can find, there were humans that were running this service. They were kind of like, they were paid to answer questions. It was mostly human guided from what I can tell. Although we'll get into, apparently there was a little bit of AI in this. Some people on Reddit came out and said they answered questions for, about minimum wage. Each post was, each answer could go from like 2 cents to, I even read as how much as like a quarter per question, which is, I mean, if you're a fast typer, then that's pretty good and you know a lot. I'm guessing that's based on difficulty. I have no idea. But even then, a lot of the process for these freelance workers was getting the question, Googling an answer, and then fitting an answer into that textable format, which is ChatGPT basically now minus one bridge that, it's ChatGPT generally uses like the internet. I don't know much about the language, but it does learn from the internet. So it's just missing that one link. All ChaCha was missing just that one link from human to Google. Even then, I saw some posts on the last end of the service because it was dying off once everybody got a smartphone. It was kind of a dead, like there wasn't really much reason to have ChaCha because you can just use the internet on a smartphone. Some people reported that there may have been some mesh AI actually, so that's kind of cool actually. This could kind of consider it maybe like a bit of a predecessor to ChatGPT. If anybody like worked for this service, I would love to know. The service was discontinued in 2016 because basically everyone just Googled things off their smartphone. Not to mention like Siri and stuff like that, even though those aren't doing too well either nowadays. They could just do a lot of the basic questions that were ChaCha questions very fast. People just became Google heads like me. So yeah, that was the brief history of ChaCha. I need to go get my phone out again and see like what questions I asked it. I think one of them definitely was a puzzle in Resident Evil for the GameCube. But yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting. If you guys remember it or remember what you asked it, please let me know in the comments because it's kind of funny. But anyways, that was me. See you guys later.
This is Payton's outro song. This is Payton's outro song.